Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. Hope you guys are feeling great out there and having yourselves a great start to your week. I know for me personally, it's the best I felt on a Monday morning in quite some time. I don't know, just feeling good and refreshed and just great this morning. So hopefully you are too. But we have an update on what's going to happen weather-wise specifically for today, as we always do in these morning videos. A lot going on with just this Arctic front. It's hard to even call it an Arctic front. It's just a very strong cold front. It's hard for me to use the word Arctic, even though if this was occurring maybe in January or December, then obviously the temperatures would be much lower than what they are here in October. But this is a very strong cold front. It's going to bring some uncommon, unseasonable weather for a lot of people. So we're going to break this down for you guys for today, and then stay tuned for tonight. We'll talk about some other things. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Facebook. It's a great way to follow along. Trying to get to 20 members on my YouTube channel. I think I'm around 18, 19 right now. So trying to get to 20 by the end of October. Big goal of mine. But it's just a great way to support what I do here monthly. And I really appreciate the members who are part of my channel. I really do. And I appreciate everybody who tunes in regularly every morning and evening. It doesn't go unnoticed. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. And we all certainly pray over these prayer requests. So definitely do that, guys. Let's take a look at water vapor loop as we always do in the mornings. Got a little bit of spin up here. The lake effect snow machine monster is definitely getting going here off Lake Superior. We'll see what it does off Lake Michigan a little bit later today. Most models like the idea of even northern Indiana getting accumulating snow. In fact, the National Weather Service predicting accumulating snow in areas of northern Indiana. Not to just specifically talk about you guys, but we'll talk a little bit about that in this video because it's very interesting. Obviously, way up here in the UP of Michigan, not totally uncommon to see snow in October. Once you start to get into the Ohio Valley, it starts to get a lot more uncommon very quickly. Certainly going to mention that. And then we just got some lingering showers, things like that, working its way through the East Coast. And then maybe some severe weather could pop up in the Eastern Carolinas a little bit later this evening, but not expecting a really big deal. But this cold front will push throughout the day for the deep south. Carolinas, for example, it'll pass through probably later this evening. And by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll feel like a different world than it does this morning. I know in my neck of the woods this morning, it's starting off in the upper 50s, low 60s. So certainly much warmer than what we've seen the last couple of days. But watches and warnings, guys. I mean, everything in this kind of this purple color right here. Some people might want to call this a version of blue, but it looks more so purple. That is a freeze warning for millions of people, many states. And then the blue, that pretty blue color right here, that's freeze watches. And then there's several counties in Mississippi, a couple counties in Arkansas that they have a frost advisory, which I assume this probably is a freeze watch in these areas too. But you can see these freeze warnings sneaking into North Georgia now, freeze watches all the way down to southern areas of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And then they're starting to break out into the Triad and Piedmont areas of North Carolina. So winter storm warnings ongoing and will continue for the UP of Michigan. And then you got flood watches up for Maine, which you guys could see a lot of rain over the next, I would say, 24, 48 hours. But dense fog down here in the deep south with the normally with the clashing with the air masses setting up. National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center. There's a marginal risk for this area right here in Florida, northeast areas of Florida, and then you got a marginal risk that stretches from Charleston, South Carolina, all the way up to Virginia Beach and just a little bit further north into the Delmarva area, southern sections of Delaware. You could see a little bit of severe weather a little bit later today, certainly possible. But check out this little general risk of thunderstorms right here. It's very interesting to me. That symbolizes that, hey, you know, you could have some lightning and thunder potential off this lake effect moisture coming off Lake Michigan a little bit later today. And some of it could be in the form of snow. Maybe if you get a heavier enough shower or just convective shower, it could crash the column enough to where it briefly switches to heavy snow. But I think we'll certainly get some snow in this area throughout the next couple days. But let's break it down region to region for my southeast folks today. We're going to have numerous showers and storms potentially for Florida later today. And then, like I said, later this evening, watch out, Norfolk, always you guys were coaching me how to pronounce that name. I always stay away from actually saying it. But Virginia Beach area, let's just say that, up to northeast North Carolina, Raleigh, maybe to Fayetteville, I doubt it though, but you guys could see a strong storm or two as this cold front moves through and then some convection pops out ahead of it just before. But there's some nasty storms off the coast of the southeast out here. I feel bad for any boaters, but these have a nasty look to them. But this will move on through, and then maybe some lingering showers and storms might drift into the west coast of Florida overnight tonight. But the Northeast, you're going to have some rain setting up later this afternoon, anywhere from, areas of Northeast Ohio all the way through the Northeast, just some passing showers. And then as we're getting into this evening, maybe some, I wouldn't say stronger, but some heavier showers, things like that, will start to work its way through New England. And then we're getting into the middle of the night. This will drift into Maine. And then you start to pick up a lot of rain tomorrow morning for Maine, New Hampshire, and things like that. But if you look right here, as we're getting, let's back it up, getting into overnight tonight, you're starting to get some moisture firing off Lake Erie into northeast Pennsylvania. And then this is when we start to talk about the S word for areas of northeast Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, man. If I'm saying northeast, I mean in northwest Pennsylvania, western New York State, maybe even northeast Ohio. My directionals are getting mixed up this morning, but look at this band. We'll talk about this here in a second. Firing off in Indiana and southern Michigan. But we'll keep this rolling here, and it's going to be interesting. If you live along the immediate lake, the ARRR model likes the idea of this staying rain. But if you live, I don't know, an hour away from the lake, this could be in the form of some heavy wet snow into the late overnight hours into tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens with that. It'll bring the opportunity for some accumulating snow overnight for that region. But we'll talk about that a little bit more tonight. We'll see if we can get a good consensus on models with that. But down here in the south central U.S., a lot of rain today, and southern Texas, especially southwest Texas, will fall. Especially deep down in Texas. I think you guys will continue to see a lot of rain down here in this region. So just expect that, but still not a big flooding risk. So just a marginal risk of flash flooding occurring down here. So we'll watch out for that. My folks up here in Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, Michigan in general, down to the Ohio Valley. I mean, you guys are going to be dealing with snow all day in the UP of Michigan. And then there's going to be a band that will start to move down here in Wisconsin. And I think this will bring the opportunity for a little bit of snow, maybe in eastern areas of Wisconsin a little bit later today. This could drift down into maybe Chicago, but maybe just west of Chicago. It can certainly be snow, but maybe along the immediate coastline of Lake Michigan where Chicago is. I think there'll be a battleground between snow and rain, but I would not be surprised if later this afternoon, this evening, you see some images, if you follow social media weather, maybe some flakes flying around in and around the Chicago area. But really what interests me about this, out of all this, is as we're getting into the overnight hours tonight, some moisture feed gets off of Lake Michigan. It begins to work its way from a north to south kind of directional flow, if you will. And then some big bands of heavy precipitation start to jet across Indiana. This will bring the risk for a heavy band of snow potential for somewhere in the northern half of Indiana. And this streams across the northern half of Indiana throughout the overnight hours into tomorrow morning. So this will be interesting to me. It really will. I would like to see who can get a sneaky couple inches of snow in the northern half of Indiana, but I think it's possible. I do. Let's take a look at the radar right now out of Marquette. So I know this is switching back from green, yellow to blue, and that's because this area right here, even though you're seeing a lot of heavy precipitation, it's very marginal, meaning the temperatures are only in the 30s, maybe upper 30s in certain areas. So, I think all of this is probably falling right here, like I just had it circled, which I don't know why I uncircled. I think that's probably all falling as mostly snow. I think you're probably struggling right in this area along the immediate coastline. There was a weird report around Marquette that said freezing rain. That's a misreport. There's no way freezing rain is falling. I don't think it's below freezing in Marquette. I don't think it is. If it was, then I don't think freezing rain would be falling. But anyways, heavy snow falling in this area of the UP of Michigan. This is what we expected. So, I mean, nothing unusual. This is what was forecasted. But this is between now and the next 24 hours, guys. Over a foot of snow predicted in areas of the UP of Michigan. I don't know how much has fell already, but I'm sure there's already snow on the ground. But a lot of snow predicted in this area of Michigan. So basically the entire western panhandle or western UP of Michigan. But it's still showing some accumulating snow. Even if you go further deep south into Wisconsin, the entire eastern part of Wisconsin could see a dusting to maybe an inch or two. And a little wave of moisture tries to work its way down the western coast of Lake Michigan. But this is the interesting part right here. If I was to focus in on Indiana here, this is the National Weather Service. This isn't just one GFS crazy model or anything. Look at this accumulating snow in northern Indiana between now and the next 24 hours. This mainly will happen this evening into the overnight hours. If you're watching from Indiana and you're in this area of Indiana, listen, I mean, you could get some wet accumulating snow. It's probably going to melt very quickly. But if you go to bed tonight and you're in northern Indiana, might not be nothing on the ground, but you might wake up to a surprise of a couple inches of snow on the ground. So do not let this throw you by surprise. I know there has to still be leaves on the trees in this area. So this could be that beautiful. I love this, guys. This is why I would love to live somewhere north. I'm just a firm believer that I was born in the wrong state. But everything happens the way it happens. But this is going to be a great chance to see what I call snowledge. So you'll basically get the snow falling on those trees that are still changing, and that white mixing with the colorful trees with the leaves changing and the fall foliage and things like that. So this will be an opportunity for that. So take some pictures, enjoy it. This doesn't happen a lot. It happens. It's not so super uncommon, but this is going to be a little bit of a surprise, I think, for some people in Indiana. I do. I think this is going to catch some people by surprise, but you heard it. I'm not saying you heard it here first, but you heard it here. So temperatures today across the country, there will be a battleground with temperatures. It'll be into the 80s. If you enjoy warm weather and you live in the Carolinas, the deep south, Florida, please enjoy it today. Get out, enjoy it. You know, I'm going to enjoy it. You know, I'm definitely a cold weather fan over warm weather fan. But, you know, it's going to be downright chilly for most of the country. The eastern U.S., the entire eastern half of the country is going to be chilly over the next, this entire work week. So if you're a warm weather fan, get out there, enjoy it, breathe it in. I'm not saying we're done with the 80s. It's hard to say we're done with the 80s at all throughout the entire year in the South. But we're done. We're going to be done with them for at least several days. But you can see in the Ohio Valley, the cold air settling in, highs in the 40s. The troughing has not quite made it to the Northeast, so 50s, 60s, 40s, just depends on where you are elevation-wise. And then here comes the true cold air dropping down out the Midwest. What's interesting to me today is if, for example, you live in Atlanta, the Carolinas, Birmingham, Alabama, the Panhandle of Florida. This is not temperatures; these are dry air. So you can tell what the cold front is here. You still got a little bit of a return flow right here, so dry air lingering around this morning, but as we're moving into about midday, you see this big area right here kind of crashing this way on your screen. That is that dry air from that cold front. And listen, man, this is going to move through. The winds are going to shift, and the driest air and the coldest air of the 2022 fall season is going to move in. These are not temperatures. These are dew points. Now, the HRRR model likes to overdo and make dew points lower than what they actually end up being. But it just gives you the idea that this is some very dry air. It wants to put single-digit dew points into Georgia. That is not going to happen. There's no way. It's hard enough to get that just in January, but very dry air regardless. You might need to get your chapstick ready here. But you notice in Florida, look at the battleground. Look, you got dew points still in the 70s deep down in Florida. But if you go in the northern areas of Florida, I mean, you got dew points that are very, very dry. But this even crashes down into Florida into the overnight hours tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. So driest air of the season, coolest air of the season incoming for the fall season, not the entire year. But that's all I got, guys. Y'all have yourselves a great day. Enjoy the Monday, make the best out of it, and God bless.